Welcome back, adventurers, to a 5 minutes of your time. This one is going to be called Why I Like Bike. Alright, so, key fob, why do you like motorcycles? Well, okay, here we are. So, growing up, oh, that was a hard bug. Jeez, I hope y'all saw that. Growing up, I remember motorcycles being not part of my life, but being on the edges. My cousins, my family, for the most part, used to all live on one hill in the county. It was my Aunt Bobby, my grandmother, our house, then across the street you had my Uncle Tracy, and on the same road, just that was a strong blast. Further down, you had my Uncle Barry. So yeah, we all pretty much lived on the same road. But my cousins, Heath and Travis and them, they had dirt bikes, and you could see them. We'd stand on our front porch and watch them cross the road, going down the little ditch area, and going back and forth on the bikes. And my grandfather had a motorcycle, and I remember he took me on it once, across the street over to the fish ponds. It was, I want to say my mom told me it was a Honda. It wasn't like a big blah 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 blah. It was just a Honda. Now she says that, and probably thinking that any type of bike they don't equal out in my head. Like if it's not a big burly Harley, it's not a bike. No, that's not the case at all for us. A bike is a bike is a bike is a bike. I don't care if you're running a little moped scooter down the city streets, or if you're running a gigantic Road Glide Super X Double D Custom, or whatever it is. If you're out riding on two wheels or even three, do your thing, man. Get out there and ride. So my grandpa had a bike. My cousins had dirt bikes. You heard about the stories of my uncles riding motocross and all that. And then my Uncle Curtis, mentioned in another video, he had his Harley. So I grew up always seeing motorcycles. I remember every time I would hear a bike and I was outside coming down the highway, I would run to the edge of the road. Well, more or less the edge of the road. And I would watch and wait for that bike to pass, and I would wave to him, and I could think, oh man, how cool is that? That guy is riding this motorcycle down the highway. He looks cool, man. I can't wait till I can be that cool one day. And then growing up watching cartoons like Biker Mice from Mars, that one's kind of out there, but that kind of cemented in my mind. You had three types of bikes, right? You had a cruiser, then you had a chopper, then you had a sport bike. That's the type of bikes that the three Biker Mice from Mars rode. And then you had Akira, where all those bikes were fantasy bikes. But they were awesome. They did amazing things. And oh, how badass is that bike? It lets a wing down when you get on it, and then the rear wheel lights up with electricity, and you take off like a rocket. And then you had the Terminator taking that fat boy and jumping it off the culvert or whatever that was, as he was chasing after John Connor. Or I can't remember, was he chasing after John Connor in that one, or was he chasing the T2 trying to save John Connor? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. The point of the story was there was a motorcycle in that movie, and that motorcycle looked badass, so I had to get one. And then seeing other movies like, what was it, Biker Boys, and seeing them doing those wild and crazy things on the bikes. And then Torque. Guys, ladies, do not take anything you see in the movie Torque as something you can do on a bike. I don't know anyone who has successfully tried to jump on a moving train, right? It's not something you can do. You can do all kind of wild stunts on bikes, right? But jumping onto a moving train is not something you can do. So don't try it. But yeah, growing up watching movies like that and seeing how cool those guys were as they were going down the highway, and how cool my Uncle Curtis looked when he would gear up for one of his rides and he'd get on that big Harley of his and fire it up, or come in the driveway as we're over there seeing my cousins. He'd come rolling in. That's why I like bikes. Growing up and seeing how cool these people were, and seeing how awesome it was just watching these groups of bikes as they're going down the highway. That's why I like bike guys. Blame movies and TV. Yep, blame movies and TV.